So this is my quick mix. I got a track from the Cambridge website. I believe there were 18, 20. There were several tracks, a lot of them. Um, and um, this is my sort of workflow. I arrange my tracks by score order just because it's easier to keep track of in my head, and so I start with vocals. Um, I've got their sends here. Then I go to acoustic guitar, electric guitar. After that would normally be some kind of keys. And then I've got bass, and then the kit is last, and then my master's at the very end. My kit is also arranged by score order, kind of, not really. I always have the snare and the kick together because those are the two that are I always put center. Like I never pan those, and those need to be the tightest in my opinion. So I put those together right next to each other so I can watch the levels without having to scroll all around my mixing window. And then I have hi-hat because that's the next one that's going to be, that matters, I guess. And then I'll do toms, and then right overheads and crashes last. Everything has a send. That's the wrong color. Where I will either use it just to control the volume without having to have it grouped up and whatever. I also do some processing on my sends. Like for the bass, I have a DI and a cab that was mic'd, and then they sounded great, and so I just mix them in together, and then I process that sound as one, and then have that sent out. But you can see that this is not sending to the output. This is sending straight to this chain send. The drums are the only thing that have sort of an intermediate AUX channel, and so like all my snares are sent to this snare chain. I didn't use this first snare, it didn't sound great, but I used these two. And I just got the SSL plugin from Waves, and that sounded great, so I use it a lot on this. And so I did a little bit of EQ on the two snares, and then I did some compression of them together. And so this is actually sent to the drums out. Just like neither of the kicks are going directly to the drums out, they're going to their own AUX channel, because again, it's I compressed them each separately using some sidechain on both. And then on that send, I EQ'd it just a little bit. That's not supposed to do that. My reverb is all one reverb, which is actually over here. I use a space reverb, I use one of the rooms. And typically all the instruments, their send alone is sent to the reverb. And I did that because I can sit here and mix the acoustic or the electric, all the electric tracks to make them sound the way I want them to sound. And then instead of having to mix then their reverb send individually, I just group that one perfect, little ensemble sound and have that all sent to the reverb. The other part of my workflow is that I do groups a lot because I'm able to hold control and click on a group and then just isolate that group in my mixing window. So I'm not having to scroll back and forth. Like you hold Control Shift and click on another group, it adds it to that window without taking anything away. And so I often will mix drums and bass together so that they sound really tight, and then I'll go and start mixing all the guitars together so that they sound really tight. So instead of having to scroll back and forth, I just click a couple times and I can have on my window exactly what I need to listen to. And in this view, when you hold Alt and you solo or mute something, it's just what's visible, so everything else would be muted right now if I played this track. So yeah, that is my mix, or that's my workflow. You can obviously see colors, all the AUX tracks that are not sort of the master send of a section are green, and then the reverb is green, but then every sort of group send is this bright yellow so that I know which one to control to sort of mix this group all together into, you know how this works. All right,